What's going on, guys? It's Friday, so it's time for Tactical Talks. Today we're going to be talking about my first aid med kit. This is a med kit that I put together myself. These are things that I've needed over the years or things that I've used over the years. Now, this isn't a full-on med bag. This is just stuff that I use on patrol. I'm not a medic by any means. This is just kind of to help keep somebody stable until the medics do get there. They're usually right behind us, but this kind of just helps speed up that process to get them the care that they need. My department does issue us med kits. Unfortunately, I just feel like it didn't have everything I needed, or at least everything I wanted, so I put this thing together. So, without further ado, let's get into this bag. I'm going to keep this video kind of short, or at least try to. I'm not going to talk about everything specifically that's in this bag. So if I talk about something and you're not 100% sure what it is, and everything in here is pretty basic, but if you do have any questions more in depth than what I talk about, comment down below and I'll be more than happy to get back to you guys. The first thing I want to talk about is the whistle that I have right there, big orange tab. That's kind of number one why I put it on there. It's very easy to see, very easy to grab. I can pull these zippers down, no issues, rather than trying to find this black strap on a black bag at night. Again, it is a whistle. If I do need to get somebody's attention or whatever, I can sit there and blow on that whistle and I can let somebody know, hey, I'm over here, if we're in a dark area, wooded area, whatever the case may be. The second thing that I have on this bag is a multi-tool. I've run Gerbers and Leatherman stuff. This one's just the the Leatherman Charge. Very, very nice multi-tool. I've had this thing for a while now. Had no issues with it. This one does have the little Allen head pieces that you can slide in and out. You can get multiple pieces for this. I've never really used these things, but that is kind of cool knowing that if I do need them, I have them there. The next thing I have on my bag, and I'm not going to pull everything off of this bag or all the way out of this bag. I'm just going to do enough to show you guys so y'all can see what I have. The next thing I have is a very inexpensive light. These lights, they have them at Walmart, they have them at hardware stores, stuff like that. And I think that's where I got this one from, was a hardware store. This light has a magnet down here at the bottom. That helps me because if we go out on the call, if there's an accident, something like that, if I need to write or see something, I can just stick the magnet onto the car, shine some light on what we're doing. If we have a car accident victim, I can pull them out of the car, set them down on the ground as long as it's safe, stick this light on there, turn some light on, so either while I'm working on them or when the medics get there, they got some light. So it's got a bright function, it's got a dim function, then it has a hazard function. I can sit this on a car, face this backwards. If the car's hazards lights aren't working, or if I'm not by my patrol car with my red and blues on, kind of just get somebody's attention, let them know to slow down. The next thing I have is this Gerber seatbelt cutter. You can see there's a little blade right there. If I pull up on an accident, which we go to a lot of accidents, and somebody's trapped in their vehicle, we can't reach over and unbuckle their seatbelt to get them out, I can just hook their seatbelt with this, rip their seatbelt, and then we're good to go. We can try to get them out of the vehicle. Another thing that this thing works really good for is t-shirts. If you have somebody that has a stab wound, a gunshot wound, stuff like that, and their shirt's in the way, I can grab the collar, slice down, and open up their shirt, and we can get some a little bit quicker. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this will work on denim. I'm assuming it will, just because of how strong it is and how easy it goes through seatbelts, but I have not tried that yet. The next thing we have on the outside of the bag is I have two little Kim sticks right here. Because I do work at night, if I do need to kind of mark off a spot or mark off like, hey, I'm over here, if my light's not on or for whatever reason people will need to get to me, I can break these little Kim sticks, and I have little glow sticks, kind of mark different positions. If I want to mark, you know, there might be evidence, something right here. It's a lot easier for me to put a Kim stick down to identify where that thing is rather than trying to mark it and then it's at nighttime and I'm sitting out here with my flashlight trying to find it. On this side we have my tourniquet. It's a cat tourniquet. All you do is pull this down right here, it comes apart, and then the cat tourniquet is just held on here with this little elastic band. So very simple, very easy to get to, very easy to use. I have multiple types of tourniquets, but this is just my favorite one. This is what I used when I was in the military. I found this little cat tourniquet holder and I just thought that was really cool, very functional. On the inside of the bag, again, I'm not going to pull everything all the way out. So the inside of the bag right here on the side, I have these little saline squirters. I don't know exactly what they're called. But if we have an injury, if somebody's been in an accident, they're rolled in the dirt, something like that, smaller stuff, cuts, stabs, I can use this to clean them out. to try to keep as much of that bacteria out as possible before we bandage them up so it doesn't get infected. Another thing that I have in here is just a bunch of bandages. These are different bandage sizes. Some of these have their own adhesive on them, some of them don't. Big old bandage there. Some gauze pads. And there's more gauze pads in here, but these are just kind of on top if I need to get to them really quick. Obviously sitting right here, very easy to get to. The next thing I have is this thing, and I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember what this thing is called, but it's got like a wiry kind of foldable feel to it. This thing will work if you have somebody that has a head or neck injury, maybe even a back injury. You can wrap this around their neck, kind of form it to their neck without it squeezing on them, and keep their head and neck positioned to where it's not bouncing around everywhere when you go to move them. Another thing that you can do with this, if somebody breaks their arm, they break their leg, you can open this thing up, put it up against that extremity, and then tape it up in order to try to keep it as straight as possible so it's not causing them any more pain when you're moving them around. The next thing I have is this burn dressing. It says water gel. I don't remember the exact name of the gel that's on it, but obviously you want to be very careful with what you put on a burn. If you put something dry, a shirt, stuff like that, you put it on there. When you go to pull it off, their skin starts, or the skin, the blood, everything starts to kind of adhere to that, and you end up ripping all of that off. So you want to be really careful what you put on a burn. That's why I have this deal right here. I have not had to use one of these yet, but it is always good to have. The next thing, every medical bag should have this, are trauma shears. And these aren't anything fancy. These are, I think, $10, $15 pair of shears. They definitely do work. I can cut through a penny with these things. That was kind of like my test. If they can cut a penny, then they'll work, and they've worked thus far. I've only had to use them, I think, maybe twice, and I've had no issues. Coming into the pockets here, again, I'm not going to pull every single thing out just because I like the way everything is organized in here. But there's some more gauze right here, some more bandage tape. Here's your little gauze bandages, very thick. These right here, these two black things and the white thing, there are 3 sets of gloves in here. In case somebody's bleeding or whatever else the case is, I don't want to get that blood all over me. If I don't already have gloves on my duty belt or on my person, then I know for sure that I have some in my med kit. Directly underneath that, there's some more band-aids down here at the bottom, a little bit bigger than what's going to fit in this side, which we'll get to here in a minute. A bunch of alcohol wipes, a bunch of sterile wipes, and then, like I said, a little bit bigger band-aids, smaller than these, or sorry, yeah, smaller than these, but bigger than these. And then I have this little Tylenol deal right here. All this has in there is just over-the-counter Tylenol. In my other bag, in my patrol vehicle, I keep BC powder. For those of you, if you ever have really bad headaches or migraines, I highly, highly recommend BC powder. That's what I use when I'm at work. I get really bad migraines sometimes. And I keep that one closer to me so I don't have to go into my med kit to pull that out. But I keep that in my vehicle. There's a little bit more gauze in here, as well as down here at the bottom. On this side, it's just another bigger gauze pad. And then on this side, I have a rain poncho. And it's kind of funny, I get asked a lot of times why I have a rain poncho in my med kit. But if you guys don't know what a sucking chest wound is, if you're not afraid to look at blood and injury, stuff like that, look it up. If I have an injury where somebody's been hit in the chest, whether they're shot, whatever the case is, and their chest is sucking in air, they're unable to breathe, what you do is you get this poncho liner, you put that on there to kind of seal it up, and then I use some of this tape to tape this down, and it allows them to breathe better without just sucking oxygen into their body, causing them to not be able to breathe and sometimes drowning in their own blood because of all the blood that's leaking into there. The next thing I have is just little tweezers. This is just for very basic, if I need to pull something out, a splinter, something like that. I've not had to use these either, but it just came with one of my med kits, so I threw that in there. I have smaller scissors in here if I don't want to pull out the entire shears to cut little pieces of tape, stuff like that. I've had to use these before. A little kid scraped his knee, so I didn't want to come at him with these big old scissors, and he's kind of freaking out. So put a little piece of gauze on there, put a little piece of tape, and then I just use these little scissors to cut that tape. On this side again, I have little butterfly bandages here, and then regular bandages there, which I always use those because you run across kids that fell off their bike or fell out of a tree, stuff like that. So that's what I use there. And then on this side, just a little bit of tape. So nothing too crazy in my bag. Like I said, I've had to use my med kit for bullet wound. Somebody got shot. I've had to use it for not necessarily a stab wound. It was similar to a stab wound, laceration. Guy cut himself on a window. And then, like I said, band-aids, stuff like that for kids is kind of just the norm. So I haven't had to go in this thing too often. Our medics usually show up pretty quick, but I like knowing that if I need it, I have it. So these are kind of just things that I've learned over the years when I was in the military, things that I needed, as well as, like I said, since I've been a police officer. So hopefully this helps you guys out. If you're thinking about putting together a med kit, I would at least start with these basic items and then kind of build off it from there depending on what your situation is. So again, if you guys have any questions, comment down below. If you're not subscribed, consider hitting that button, subscribe. I post weekly videos, Tactical Talks, that's what we do here every Friday. So we just talk about any and everything. If you guys have any suggestions of what you want to see me talk about, leave me a comment and maybe we can start talking about it. We can, get some more information out there, or maybe something I can learn about, because there's definitely a lot of things out there that I don't know about. So I enjoy learning while making these videos and hopefully help you guys out. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.